I welcome you all here. You are our future stars, brothers now stars, and now on the path to shine for the country, for your families, for your tribes, those who are from the tribal area. Let me tell you that this time of your life is very important, because this either makes you or breaks you. If you concentrate your studies, concentrate to get the knowledge, to acquire the knowledge, and knowledge is a power, and knowledge is something which takes you up. So please do not have any hands up in your mind that you come from a poor background, you come from village, you come from mountains. Keep in mind you are a Pakistani, you have same brain, same eyes, you have same bodies. Only what you have to do is to compete, because competition is something which takes you forward. I know you have studied a lot by now, you're all postgraduates, graduates. I don't have to give you the basics, but what is important that you should know what is happening to our country, what's going on exactly around us. So now you will have the first question, of course, which I feel is Afghanistan, because it is something bothering Pakistan, it is bothering the entire Central Asia, world, South Asia. And let me first pay my biggest salute to the entire KPK. Not a single household, a single family which has not suffered because of this terrorism which was right in front of you. It was a conspiracy against this whole bloc. When you know, and your grandparents, your parents would know how USSR was lured in to attack Afghanistan. We made a mistake to jump in, and we're suffering till today, gun running to drug trafficking and everything. I have to speak something about drug trafficking and drug menace, but I'll say something later. So now America also came in. It was all, in fact, international game, because the world powers wanted to play and use this as a play field. It's unfortunate that Pakistan and Afghanistan, they were, I think, on their radar, and how we are suffering, how we suffered in the past, and I don't know how we're going to suffer more. Anyway, that's what I have openly written, I've spoken. You might have heard me saying so. I think that it is the time that the Afghan people should get together. They should demonstrate their unity, because if they do not demonstrate their unity, they will land in the same mess which they were facing in the past. And when Afghanistan lands in mess, Pakistan automatically is attracted to be in that mess. And I hope not only Afghanistan, our government, our intellectuals, and the world must see that they should at least take care of the humanity. If there is a mess card, and I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind, violence or without violence, the Taliban will definitely attempt, or they will enter Kabul. And my prediction 6 months back, it's very much on record, that they are going to make their way to Kabul. And you know, they are nearby. Warlords have been distributed ammunition, and of course more sophisticated arms, and if they use it, this is going to be our trouble. Well, I must say, even the media is also listening, that it's not easy this time for Afghan Taliban to actually run over or just make our way straight to Kabul, because there are a number of other factions which have come into existence and they will oppose. And now we do not know what kind of internal understanding has been made with the Americans, with Afghanistan, the Afghan Taliban. But what is appearing, that when they left the arms and ammunition, while withdrawing their forces, they left everything behind, and they have already taken over. My objection to America, and I have been very vocal right up to the President of the United States, that withdrawal without a proper withdrawal strategy is actually lethal. It's not fair for the Afghan people who have already suffered heavily. They are in misery. So it should be in a way that they should be given away. You know, those who came to Pakistan, they have grandsons now. And I don't want this fight, this war, actually to travel to the next generation, because it's total destruction, nothing but destruction. So Pakistan has done best. I know what is going on as a part of the system, but I think that we have to do more. When I say we have to do more, not what America tells us to do more, but what our people want, what this region wants. So I hope that we will do something which is good, which is appropriate, which is in fact a way forward for the Afghan nation. The problem here is that many world powers and India is playing a proxy war from there. So whatever is happening in Pakistan, it's basically a proxy war from Afghanistan, which is being done by India. Now, fifth generation warfare, you people must read it. This is the new way of fighting, and they are fighting with us in Pakistan from India by spending billions of rupees, billions of dollars. So no doubt our agencies, our law enforcement agencies, plus the army is playing a good role. And the old model, which was prepared sometime by some of our enemies, was to, of course, create trouble in Balochistan, but at the same time in KPK. And you must have seen the recent killing of 9 Chinese, and it was claimed by Walayat-e-Pakistan means Daesh. And if you recall that I had been always vocally advocating the Daesh is in this region. It is in Afghanistan, it is in Pakistan, but I got bashing at that time. That's what the hell he's saying. But now, thank God, my position stands vindicated that they are very much here. And the fourth thing which I noted, that during all this, the media in the West, media in Afghanistan, media in Pakistan, nobody was taking the name of Daesh, while the conflict between Afghan government and the Afghan Taliban was going on. That was actually bothering me, which actually automatically came after these killing. And in fact, if you see, just about 2 weeks before this incident, I was direct with the Taliban, and I said, look dear, if you do something against China, that means you're doing against Pakistan. So don't do that, which could hurt us. We are the one who actually brought you up. You were a child. And now since you are grown up, you have a lot of friends. But don't forget the old friend, which is Pakistan. So I'm glad that the Taliban did respond on that. And they said they will not touch, or they will not inflict the interest of China. And God willing, that is going forward. And I hope that this will move in the same direction. Now, finally, I would say that this will be to be seen. Rather, you will see that India will try its best. No peace in Afghanistan, because no peace in Afghanistan suits India for the proxy war, for attacks on us. So therefore, we have to be very careful, because I had acted myself when I was the Interior Minister to actually do reconciliation with the Afghan Naraz group, and met everybody. I was in touch with Bramdad Bukti, Habayar Mari, Hana Klaat, everybody. And well, what could I see was India. And I had the proof that they had the Indian passports. They used to go to India. Even today, when we are trying to get peace, the Afghan government, most of their high leadership is in India. Abdullah is in India. I heard it's news for the media, according to my information, that they are flying dollars in special jets, special hired planes to India and to some other countries which I would not like to name. But it is the Afghan money. And I'm sure whenever the new government comes in power, they will be able to get it. But to get it now, because then it's difficult to in fact get the stolen money. So I hope all which is for the Afghan people, for the betterment of the people of Afghanistan, it is must. I have been asked a question regarding reconstruction of Afghanistan. Obviously it is destroyed, and once the peace takes place, only then we'll know as to who has come in power and how we can help. I can assure you Pakistan government is ready, and we as a Pakistani feel that we should play a major prominent role in Afghanistan to have the reconstruction done. But unfortunately, if you see in the last time, 1996 onward, who came in to help India? They preferred India as compared to Pakistan, and I hope they will not repeat this mistake again by bringing India back to the same fold for their reconstruction, post-rehabilitation. Pakistan would be ready. I think some other countries should also be ready. I have given a proposal yesterday, and I will give and repeat the same, that UNO always sleeps. It gets up after everything is done, destruction is there. It's a time for United Nations to come forward, get up, we are knocking their doors, that if you do not actually land at this point of time, there will be many killings. There's a demand of humanity, not the demand of Rahman Malik, or demand from Pakistan. These are the children, elders, our sisters and brothers are calling for their safety. And UN is meant for safety, and I hope the Secretary General UN will wake up and send the peace forces in Afghanistan before 30th August, because I foresee a doomsday after 30th August, because the final withdrawal will be there, and of course they will try to take over. That's the time. If there is an interim government, I still wish and I hope that there is a small time, only for a little time, there is a short-term government. A short-term, let us say even for 3 months, exactly like it was done in the past. I know at that point of time I was director of FIA Peshawar, and I was part of that reconciliation when Hikmat Ziyar and Mullah Rabbani were there, when they were chosen, one as the president and one as the prime minister. So at that time, at least people knew who was going to govern. Now even today, nobody knows who's going to govern after Ashraf Ghani, or what kind of massacre is going to take place, what kind of happenings are going to be there. Even you have seen Turkey coming in, some other interests are there. So let's hope for the best. I wish really the best to our Afghan brothers and sisters, with the hope that the sense prevails on Ashraf Ghani, Abdullah, they sit together with the Afghan Taliban, and even if they are desiring, as per the agreement of Doha, that Ashraf Ghani should resign, and then at least that part of that agreement comes in force, and Taliban will not be able to say no to it, because then they will have to form an interim government. The answer today to safeguard Afghanistan from a kind of civil war, there should be a civil government over a short-term government. Now coming on to Pakistan, yes, we have been suffering in Pakistan many ways. I won't go much, you know everything. But I'm persistently saying that our generation has to see, has this present system been able to perform? Has this system been able to deliver to us? Do we have to think that this system needs some kind of revamping, or this system has to be replaced? By the way, I am not advocating for any system. I'm just saying revamping of system, where there is a justice, where there is less dearness, price hikes should go down. The people who are living, they have the right to live, and they should be given the right to live. Now the right of living is being snatched the way it's going, because you're all from the institutions. I don't want to talk about any party, and I don't want to say anything where any of you being here from another party. But I must tell you, when I'm standing on the podium, I'm in front of any audience, I always think as a Pakistani. I have always spoken above the board and that's what I am speaking now above the board. I'll tell Mr. President that I think they should work out something, kind of a paper, as to what are the issues, what are the problems here, and how we can do it. I have done an exercise. My 2 books will be coming on the systems very soon. I have 7 books by now. So I am actually trying to transform all what I learned, what I experienced in the form of books, so that the new generation can get the benefit out of it, because I know a lot. Some I cannot say because of my oath which I took, but some I can say, and whatever I can say I'm putting in writing. And for example, now I finished 1 book on Afghanistan with 15 chapters, and third, which is in the final stage in 2 to 3 days, is of course Addicting the World. And addiction is coming very much in Pakistan, and all is being imported from Afghanistan. And you people are studying in university. How many of your colleagues are into hash, heroin? And now, yesterday during research, IRR is one of my Institute of Research and Reforms. Now they have come pills, and the name of pills are like pill 9, pill 10, and I'm not going to dish you more information, because I'm thinking to have the raids on them, get them arrested. And these drugs are being supplied to normal post. The money is going through the system, the telephone 2-3 system. I don't want to take the name. They'll say that they have destroyed my business, but let me warn them. I've come to their throat, and definitely in next few weeks you will see that research. And also, before doing that, I will brief the government and there's the concerned institution that we have to save our generation. The generation is getting bad taste. Those who are studying in hostel, they know it very well, how they are lured in, ensnared. As Interior Minister, I had the raids done on Quaid-e-Azam University, if you people remember. And you to horror, any type of drink which is not available even in Europe, it was in one dhaba where we raided and found. And I actually went 2 days before in disguise and sat in that dhaba, and I observed myself as to what's going on and how people get the hash, how people get the whiskey, all kind of drinks. And the 3rd day, I took the Rangers, police, and all concerned agencies, and not only we raided the hostel, we raided the other places. Yes, I had some very obnoxious and annoying call from some boys that, interestingly, on the lighter side, that you have blocked us, but what about our friends, girlfriends? Who's going to give them? So I said, you all stop, because it's not meant for you. You are here for study, go back and do anything you want to do. So actually what I have observed, and my institute has so far investigated and researched, that this drug is creating social issue, social complications. It is becoming a source of divorces. It is becoming a source of murdering. It is becoming a source of within the family tension. Because if son is taking heroin or hash, if the parents do not give him more money, you have seen many have been killed. So many are not being reported. So in fact, I have undertaken this subject also as my part of deliberations and doing something on it. And anybody, whoever is willing to join me, you're most welcome to help and assist in me. We do the surveys, we get the apprenticeship, we pay for that. And by the way, this all without any money. I do not charge anybody. Airports go free of the cost. And International Institute, this Institute of Research and Reforms, it is actually free service to the government and to those who need it. Whatever is within our limit and with my knowledge, I am giving them. And I hope that we will be able to actually stop this drug menace. Just 3 days back, a family came to me and they said the 2 daughters are in rehabilitation in Islamabad. And they were first on a small level, dose, And then there is one dose, a capsule, which costs about 18,000 rupees. And once somebody takes the life, then one has to have it. And they are much more lethal than heroin. And heroin still is treatable, but those things are not treatable. I remember I was a very junior assistant director at that time, and something was caught in Islamabad airport, and one of my inspector called me, sir, this is something, a white powder, we don't know what is it, it's just no smell and just white powder. I said, okay, seize it, we'll have it analyzed. And first 10 days we couldn't find what is this, and that was heroin, and that name was given heroin at that time. And then we investigated, it went back to tribal area, and the German scientist actually brought apparatus and they refined the hashish to heroin. And now from heroin, they have gone up very, very above technically. So there are two types of drugs which are being used. One is the natural growth, which is of course afim, bhang, and then hashish and this. And then now there are psychotropic like ecstasy, ice, and they are all being imported. And I will be giving and suggesting a law to the government and very heavy punishment, and also will ensure it that the government should consider and think about the future of our generation. And I'm speaking for the first time on it after I got out of the ministry. So you're all ambassadors, please, in your universities and colleges, do tell that. And I'm also planning to visit the universities at least twice a month, choosing the university to give a lecture to all the university students, so that I can play a little myself that how dangerous, how bad it is. And if we get into trouble, then our generation will be in trouble. I mean the youth. You know, China in 1921, the people were into fume. It was worse than heroin. And they were so used to it, there used to be a common hookah. The pipes used to be supplied to the houses. Mao Zedong saw that it's dangerous for my nation. He took the action. And then he said, these are the ones who vote and make presidents and prime ministers. Sorry, finish it off. And there was a decision, and they became independent after us. Today they are the first world power because of their youth, because deleting and weeding out the bad habits in the nation. So I hope we have one Mao Zedong one day here, without drug, without crime. Two things destroy a nation: drug and corruption. And let's hope when you people come in power, because you'll follow us, keep in mind these two things, that unless you eradicate these two things, the country can never progress. Anything else you want me to talk, I'm ready to speak.